Hello and warm regards from Next Ties team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. Today is 8th November. Let's see the news that we are going to discuss today. The first topic we are having is about GST. The impact of GST on the state finance, whether it has affected it positively or negatively, we are going to discuss that. Then the second topic we are having is about Rhesus Macaque. The Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is considering to reinstigate the Schedule 2 status under WPA, that is Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, to the Rhesus macaque species. So we are going to see what has been the status previously and what are the various schedules under WPA. Then the third topic we are having is about the Abraham Accords. A new country is willing to join these accords, a deal that is brokered by USA between Israel and the other Arab and Muslim world countries. Then the next topic we are having is about the National Social Assistance Program, a scheme which was launched 30 years back. That means we need to discuss how this scheme has been doing since 3 decades. Then the last topic we are having is about the Maoist insurgency in India. What has been the current status and what steps we need to take or the approach we need to take in future, because Maoism in India is now on decline. It is now restricted only to 3 districts. The major core area is now restricted to only 3 districts. So let's start with the first topic, that is the impact of GST on the state finance. The first topic we are having is about GST. What is the impact of GST on the state finance? Now, what is the backdrop here? The backdrop is that for the month of October, the government has released the data of the GST collection. Now, in this regard, PRS has reviewed that after coming of GST, what has been the revenue collection and has compared it with the pre-GST era. That means when GST was introduced in 2017, after that, what has been the scenario of the indirect tax revenue, and it has been compared with the scenario of the indirect tax revenue collection before 2017. So in this regard, we are discussing this topic. Now the relevance is GS paper 3, government budgeting and mobilization of resources can also be included here. Now let's go to the news. The news is very simple, that government has released the GST collection data for 2025, and the data says that the revenue collection or GST revenue collection was 1,95,936 crore rupees for October 2025, and it is 4.6% more than that collected in 2024. And this rise is due to the Diwali related festival spending. Now, out of this 1,95,936 crore rupees, 40% revenue has just come from 5 states. Which are these 5 states? You just start seeing on the map of the India. First is Maharashtra, then Karnataka, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu and Haryana. So from the southern portion, Maharashtra, Gujarat, then we have Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, and from the northern India, it is only Haryana. So these 5 states have 40% share in this 1,95,936 crore revenue. And the other 20 states and UTs are having only 60% of the revenue collection. So that simply means that the major share is of these 5 states. That simply means that the major industrial and service dominance is related with these 5 states only. The next thing is that about GST. GST was introduced in 2017. The basic objective was to simplify the taxation structure of the country and to create a unified market. Now, what does this mean? First of all, simplifying the tax structure. Before GST, there was a number of indirect taxes. Some were imposed by the central government and some were imposed by the state government. Central imposed karta tha central sales tax. Then there was an excise duty. State level value added tax था, एंट्री टैक्स था, लोकल लेवीज थी. अब होता क्या था, मान लीजिए 100 रुपीज एक प्रोडक्ट की कॉस्ट है, उसके ऊपर सबसे पहले तो रहेगा सेंट्रल सेल्स टैक्स, मान लीजिए 10% है. Now above this 110 rupees, there will be an excise duty of 10%. तो अब वो 10% इसका हो जाएगा. And above that there will be value added tax, मान लीजिए वो भी 10% है. So what is happening here? There is taxation on taxation. इसके ऊपर 10% होना चाहिए, ना कि 110 rupees के ऊपर होना चाहिए. So there was cascading of the taxation structure. So this made the taxation structure very, very complex, and it was putting extra burden. Secondly, every state was having their own set of tax rates. That means if I am getting this pen of 100 rupees in Delhi, the cost will be different in Haryana, the cost will be different in Rajasthan, the cost will be different in Maharashtra. So due to there was different tax rates in each state, there were different rates for each product in each state. We need to create a unified national market. So with these two objectives, GST was introduced, and in GST, all these taxes were inculcated. GST was having a flat rate. The basic vision for GST was there will be a flat rate for the goods as well as for the services. Then we need to simplify the taxation structure. So the GST is a destination based tax, first of all. It is tax on the consumption, second point. Third one is that it is a value added tax. Whatever value is being added, tax will be upon that only, not upon the full structure. So this is a destination based value added tax on consumption of goods and services. So these are the 5 terms that you should be knowing. Now let's move to the data part. Now before GST, if we club all the indirect taxes, the ratio of the indirect taxes to GDP, it was 6.5%. तो जितना भी हम रेवेन्यू इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस के थ्रू कलेक्ट करते थे, that was 6.5% of the GDP. Now after GST, the revenue has decreased, the ratio has decreased to 5.5%. That means GST to GDP ratio is 5.5%. So there is a decline of 1 basis point or 1%. But Finance Commission has projected when it was launched that the GST to GDP ratio will go up to 7%, and this has not happened. And the timeline given was 2021 to 2021. So there, first of all, there has been a percentage wise decrease in the revenue collection with respect to GDP after the introduction of the GST. Now next thing is that what has been the average collection of the revenue by the states. So the pre-GST period, if we compare it, the 4-year period of 2012 to 16, the state earned a revenue of 2.8% of GDP from the taxes later merged under GST. Now this has now declined to 2.7% and then 2.3% during COVID era. Now it has again increased to 2.8%. It simply means that कि GST के आने से पहले जो GST के अंदर जितने भी टैक्सेस थे उनको अगर हम क्लब कर दें तो जो रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन था स्टेट्स का that was 2.8% of GDP. After GST, the revenue collection of the states for the indirect tax, that is GST, it has decreased to 2.3% in the COVID time, and it has again bounced to 2.8% this year itself. And if we compare for the average of the last 7 years, it is 2.6%. So again, the data shows that after GDP, the state revenue collection has declined with respect to indirect taxes. So that is again hampering state revenues in negative manner. Now, the government has said that there will be an increase of 14% year-on-year basis for the GST. So the states were guaranteed 14% annual growth on state GST revenue for the first 5 years, and if this does not happen, the government of India or union government is going to compensate the states, and compensation will be done through the GST compensation cess, and it will be done for till June 2022. But as we have seen, even after June 2022, the GST figures have not risen back, and the GST compensation cess has also been removed. Now there is no legal provision for GST compensation cess, so the negative impact on state revenues is being seen right now. Now next is, if we compare state wise, which state has gained from GST and which state has lost revenue due to GST. Let's see the figure for that also. Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Meghalaya, Manipur, these have gained after the introduction of GST. This green line is showing the revenue collection after GST, and the yellow line is showing the revenue collection before GST. So these 5 states have gained from the GST regime. Now other states like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Karnataka, J&K, Punjab have seen reduced revenues after the introduction of GST. So these are showing declining trend, and these states are showing an improving trend. Now next is broader implication. GST's overall buoyancy remains below expectation, reflecting systematic inefficiencies are there. And one of the systematic inefficiency was that there were multiple tax slabs. The revenue imbalance across states may affect the fiscal federalism, center-state relation, and resource sharing mechanism. And we are seeing that also, because states from time to time are demanding from the center that they should be having more revenues. Now there has been a recent agreement between the states, between center and the Kerala state regarding the education policy. So we are seeing that the state-center relation are also getting affected due to the finances, due to the impact on the state finances after introduction of GST. Sustained reforms and compliance improvement are needed to achieve GST intended growth, neutrality, and revenue stability. Now you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the next topic. The second topic we are having is Rhesus Macaque. Why it is a news? It is a news because Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is thinking or considering for reinstating the Schedule 2 status to these species. Schedule 2 status under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. This topic is relevant from ecology and environment from the prelims point of view in the paper GS3. Now let's go to the news. The news is that a standing committee of the National Board for Wildlife, which is chaired by the Union Environment Minister Bhupender Yadav. So you should be knowing who chairs the standing committee of National Board for Wildlife. It is the Union Minister of Environment. And currently Minister is Shri Bhupender Yadav. Now they have said that the Schedule 2 status for the Rhesus Macaque should be reinstated, for the monkey should be reinstated. And the reason given is that, first of all, there are chances of illegal capture and cruelty. So to prevent that, to provide a statutory protection to it, and also to regulate scientific management of the species. Now one more provision is there. The provision is Section 11 of the Wildlife Protection Act. It talks about the power to handle the wildlife in conflict, and that power is with the state governments. So the state governments' views are also important here. Now if we go in the history, the Rhesus Macaque up till 2014 was a Scheduled 2 species. So it was listed in the Schedule 2 of the Wildlife Protection Act. So there was protection to the species. Now in 2014, it was delisted from the Schedule 2. And now it can be hunted, it was not under the statutory protection. Now the proposed status is that the status should be reinstated. Along with this, the Union Minister has given direction to the divisional forest officers and the deputy conservator of the forest that first of all they need to make plan, and they also need to establish centers. Plan किसके लिए? Site specific management and conservation. Site specific management का मतलब है कि उसी जगह पे how they are going to manage the Rhesus Macaque species. Secondly, they need to establish rescue and rehabilitation centers for the species. Now in this, if we see the views of the state, they are mixed. Some states like Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh are saying that the status should be reinstated. Whereas other states like Rajasthan, Assam, Meghalaya, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, Andhra Pradesh are against this move. Now let's go to Rhesus Macaque. So this is Rhesus Macaque. I hope you see, you remember this. Daily हम देख लेते हैं. So the common name is Rhesus monkey or Rhesus Macaque. Scientific name is Macaca mulatta. Now in the IUCN Red List, it is least concern. And if we talk about CITES, it is Appendix 2, that is regulated under international trade. Geographical area is very, very wide. Northern and central India extended till Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Bhutan and Myanmar. Preferably, it resides in forest, agricultural landscapes, temples and urban settlements. It is highly adaptable to the human-dominated environment, and that is the concern here, because whenever monkeys are residing in a human-dominated environment, they are also creating ruckus for the human, and there are human and wildlife conflicts. So that's why this status was removed earlier. Now let's move to the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Earlier there were 6 schedules, but after amendment in 2021, the schedules were reduced to 4. So currently there are 4 schedules under the Wildlife Protection Act. Now what is the basic logic behind these schedules? The basic logic is that These schedules provide different kind of protection to different species. For example, Schedule 1, it provides absolute protection. So absolute protection is there and the penalty is maximum. You will realize this when you see the list of the species which are under Schedule 1. For example, Bengal tiger, Asiatic lion, one-horned rhinoceros. So the species which are under extreme threat, they will always be under Schedule 1 of the WPA. So these species are in the Schedule 1 of the WPA. There is absolute prohibition on hunting, trade, possession or transfer of these species. So you cannot possess a Bengal tiger. You cannot pet him. Secondly, you cannot hunt, trade or possess or transfer the Bengal tigers. So wherever they are, they have to be protected in that particular region only. Second is Schedule 2. The punishment is little lenient. So Schedule 2, they are having the species are less with lesser but significant protection. So there is going to be punishment. The punishment is not very severe. And the prohibited activities include, they include controlled management. That means hunting and trade is not allowed, but possession can be there. They can be transferred from one place to another. And species include, the Rhesus Macaque is yet to be included in it. So common langur is there, Himalayan black buck is there, Indian fox is there, blue bull, nilgai, all these, or jackals is also under this. So these are the species under Schedule 2. Now next is Schedule 3. Schedule 3 is about plant species, the protected plant species. Schedule 3 says collection, cultivation, possession or trade of the listed plant species is not allowed. So if a person is found to collect, cultivate, possess or trade in these species, then he will be punished. These include blue vanda, red vanda, kuth, bidom cycad, lady slipper orchid and pitcher plant. So you should remember all these 6 names. These are very important. Question can be asked upon that. Next is schedule under Wildlife Protection Act, that is Schedule 4. This is linked with the site linked species. They include list of species included under Site Appendix 1, 2 and 3. It focuses on international trade regulation of endangered flora and fauna. The species include hawksbill turtle, star tortoise, tokoi gecko, red sand boa and various orchids, corals and exotic bird species as per the site list. So these are the 4 schedules under Wildlife Protection Act. Now you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the third topic. The third topic we are having is Abraham Accords. Now what is the news? News is that because Kazakhstan is willing to join Abraham's Accord with Israel. And this has been announced by none other than the US President Donald Trump. Now what is the relevance? The relevance is from International Relations, GS paper 2. Effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest in Indian diaspora. So we have to also see if Kazakhstan is joining the Abraham Accords, what is the significance for India here? So let's move to the news. The news is that the Trump announced Kazakhstan's decision to join Abraham Accords. US President Donald Trump announced that Kazakhstan will join the Abraham Accords, a framework aimed at normalizing relations between Israel and the Muslim majority nations. The statement followed a joint call between Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Kazakhstan's President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. Now Kazakhstan की position है? Kazakhstan is already having full-fledged diplomatic relations and economic relations with Israel. So joining this accord is only symbolic in nature. Kazakhstan government confirmed that the decision on joining the Abraham Accords are in final stage of negotiation. And it has said that the foreign policy principles of the Kazakhstan are of dialogue, mutual respect and regional stability. So in this regard, the Kazakhstan is going to join the Abraham Accord. Now next thing is, what is this Abraham Accords? Abraham Accords are a set of or a series of US brokered agreement in 2022 under the presidency of Donald Trump itself. So when under the first presidency of the Donald Trump, these Abraham Accords were signed. Their objective was to normalize the relation between Israel on one side and the Arab and Muslim nations on the other side. Because Arab nations have this view that the existence of Israel or the relations with Israel can only improve when the Palestine is created or when the Palestine is being recognized. Before that, the Arab nations are not going to recognize Israel. Now, in this regard, the relations between Israel and these Arab and the Muslim nation has not been very good. And this has been a challenge for India also, because India has good relations with Israel. Also, India is dependent upon the Gulf countries for its energy supplies. So, in this regard, balancing relation with Israel as well as with the Arab nations, it has been a tricky, it has been the very tricky situation for the country. Now, if the Abraham Accords are getting more and more recognition from the Arabic countries and from the Muslim countries, it will be easy for India to deal with both the sides. Now, let's come back to the topic. The topic is that the Abraham Accords are a series of the US brokered agreements aiming at normalizing diplomatic relations between Israel and the several Arab and Muslim majority countries. They represent a historical shift in the Middle East geopolitics by promoting peace, economic cooperation, and regional stability. Now, the name this Abraham has been given because Abraham, the prophet, is revered in all three: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So, it is being seen as a unifying force for the three religions. It was signed on September 15, 2021, and the signing countries were Israel, UAE, and Bahrain with the efforts of USA. Now, after that, two more countries, one is Sudan and Morocco, has also joined the Abraham Accords. Now, the new country, Kazakhstan, is going to join, and along with that, Saudi Arabia and other countries may also join in future. There are talks going on. Now, the key provisions here include in these Abrahamic Accords: mutual recognition of Israel and signatory of the Arab nations, opening of the embassies and launch of the direct air routes, enhancing trade and tourism agreements, cooperation in the areas like renewable energy, health, water management, and cyber security, non-interference clause promoting peaceful conflict resolution. So, these are the basic principles of the Abrahamic Accords. Now, what is the significance for India? The significance of India for India is very, very simple, because India is having good relations with Israel, because Israel is more or less have supported Indian technological advancement, has supported India in terms of dealing with Pakistan and other neighboring countries wherever India is facing challenges. Whereas India is very heavily dependent upon the Gulf countries for its energy supplies, and these Gulf countries and Israel are on the two opposite sides. So, balancing relation with both the countries has been a very tricky situation for the country. So, if these Abrahamic Accords are being signed by more and more Arabic and Muslim countries, it will be easy for India to deal with all the nation. So, this is the significance for India. Now, based upon the discussion, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. Let's move to the next topic. Now, the fourth topic is National Social Assistance Program. Why it is a news? Because PIB has reviewed this particular program, and this program is 30 years old. It was launched on 15th August 1995, and now we are in 2025. So, for 3 decades, this particular scheme, this particular program has been working for the welfare of the vulnerable sections. So, in this regard, we are discussing this particular scheme. Now, the topic's relevance is welfare scheme for vulnerable sections of population by center and state and their performance of these schemes. And it is under GS paper 2. Now, let's see the scheme. It was launched on 15th August 1995, National Social Assistance Program. It is a fully funded, centrally sponsored scheme, then implemented by the Ministry of Rural Development, and it is implemented in both rural as well as urban areas. And identification of beneficiaries will be done by the panchayats and the municipalities. That you should be clear about. Now, budgetary allocation, it is 9,652 crores for this year. So, you can say, to remember it, it is around 10,000 crore. Now, the particular targeting of the scheme will be for the BPL families or BPL only. Those households which are under BPL or below poverty line, they only will be targeted here. And it will be targeting the old age elderly, then widows, disability, or the people with differentially abled. Then family benefits will be given if there is any kind of accident or demise in a family which is a BPL family, and it will also be catering towards the food security. So, if we talk about the National Social Assistance Program, there are basically 5 schemes under this. First is IGNOAPS or Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme. Second one is IGNWPS, that is Indira Gandhi National Widow Pension Scheme. Third one is about the Indira Gandhi National Disability Pension Scheme, then National Family Benefit Scheme and Annapurna Scheme. So we are going to see each scheme one by one. So let's go to the first one, that is the National Old Age Pension Scheme. So it is providing a monthly pension to the people who are above 60 years of age. It will be in two parts. For the age group of 60 to 80 years, the pension will be 200 rupees, and for the people with more than 80 years of age, the pension will be 500 rupees. And it will be, again I'm telling you, it will be targeting only the below poverty line households. Next is Indira Gandhi National Widow Pension Scheme. It is again targeting the BPL families only, and the pension will be for 40 to 80 years of age 300 rupees, and for above 80 years age 500 rupees. And the targeted widows will be in the age bracket above 40 years of age. The next is Indira Gandhi National Disability Pension Scheme. Below 80 years of age, 300 rupees will be provided, financial support will be there, and above 80 years of age, 500 rupees will be provided. So what is Essential Pension National Social Assistance Program Scheme? It is basically finance based scheme. So financially it is helping the vulnerable sections of the society. Now next one is the National Family Benefit Scheme. This is for all those BPL households in which the primary breadwinner has died. So if a death occurs due to any accident or due to any natural reasons, 20,000 assistance will be provided to the family so that they are able to absorb the financial shock. And last one is the Annapurna Scheme. In the Annapurna Scheme, it will be provided to those elderlies who are eligible under the National Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme but are not able to get the pension. For them, 10 kg of the food grains per month will be provided so that their nutrition security or their food security can be ensured. Now next is how many beneficiaries it is catering to. It is catering to beneficiaries around 3.9 crores. Maximum beneficiaries are under the old age pension scheme around 221 lakhs. Then we have Indira Gandhi National Widow Pension Scheme. It is catering to 67 lakh beneficiaries. Then National Disability Pension Scheme 8.33 lakh. National Family Benefit Scheme 3.5 lakh and Annapurna Scheme 8.31 lakh. Next is how this scheme has done so far. So one part we have already covered, that it is catering to 3.09 lakh crore, 3.09 crore people. Second is what are the limitations and challenges. The first and foremost challenge you should be able to identify. Pension of only 200 rupees or 500 rupees is being given. So don't you think it is not enough for a person to fulfill his basic needs itself? So the assistance amount is very, very low. It is not able, the person is not able to even meet the basic sustenance needs. Second, you see the number of people targeted is very less. Only 3.09 crore people are being targeted out of 140. So in this regard, there is inadequate coverage, and inadequate coverage is due to because there is capping for each state and UT. That means for every state there is a limited amount of people who can get benefit out of this scheme. Then next is identification error, because the lists that we are having are outdated, and we have seen for the major schemes there are inclusion and exclusion errors. So that is another problem. Then delays in disbursement. After advent of DBT, this has actually improved, but before that the disbursements were like कि monthly में आ गया, कई बार आया ही नहीं, कई बार साल में एक बार आ रहा है. So there have been delays and there have been irregularity in the disbursements of the funds to the beneficiaries. Then lack of awareness is also there, because many people even don't know about these pension schemes even today itself. Administrative inefficiency is also there. The coordination between center, state and local authorities, because all three are involved here. For the identification of beneficiaries, the local authorities are going to take care, panchayats and municipalities. The state governments are going to see that the working is in proper manner, and state center is going to provide the benefits. So all three are involved, and there is a weak coordination between them. That is leading to inadequate, or that is leading to efficiency in the administration of the scheme. Then there are technological barriers also. There is lack of digital literacy, because elderly who is above 80 years of age आप उसको कैसे डिजिटली लिटरेट करोगे? There is limited access to banking services. That is a major problem with the banking part. Then it is excluding many elderly and disabled individuals. Then leakages and corruption are also there. There are ghost beneficiaries and middlemen who are leading to leakages in the scheme. Then state level disparities are also there. There are some states which are providing additional benefits. The states have this discretion that if they want to provide more than 200 rupees, that is up to them, they can provide. Some states have only increased by 50 rupees, but some states have increased by 5,500 rupees also. So there is discrepancy. For example, in any state, the old age pension may be 250 rupees, and for other state, the old age pension may be around 1,050 rupees. So that is state discretion, which is leading to disparities between the state. Then weak monitoring and evaluation again is another problem. There are irregular social audits, real-time data is absent, performance reviews are also absent. So the monitoring is also weak in this particular scheme. Now next is you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box, and we are going to move to the decoded part. Now last topic in the decoded section is Maoist insurgency in the country. A very good news for the country that the Maoism in India is on decline. On daily basis, we are seeing the Maoists are surrendering to the government. They are putting down their arms and they are now ready to be rehabilitated, reintegrated into the society and want to become part of the development of the country. The Maoist affected districts have now reduced to only 3. The left-wing extremism affected districts have now reduced to only 11. There was a time when the Maoism was affecting, or the red corridor was affecting from Nepal till the south of the India, and it was expanding both on the right side as well as on the left side of the country. Now it is shrinking, and that is due to the efforts of the government. So let's see the news. First of all, the relevance. The relevance is from linkages between development and the spread of extremism from GS paper 3. This topic is very, very important with respect to internal security point of view. Also, the question can be asked in GS paper 2, that how development is very, very needful for improving the governance of any area. Now, the news is that the Maoist insurgency in India, a movement on decline. And this article is written by Prakash Singh, who is a former IPS officer and who is expert on the internal security. Now, coming back to the topic, the Maoist insurgency, once termed by former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh as the gravest internal security threat. Now, this threat is declining in the country. There are serious internal rifts between the CPI Maoist regarding the continuation of armed struggle, because now the Maoists are also convinced that armed struggle is of no use. It is not going to be helpful in any manner. The Politburo and the Central Committee have been almost wiped out, and the People's Liberation Guerrilla Army is nearing the collapse. The most affected districts have now reduced from 6 to 3. They are Bijapur, Sukma and Narayanpur in Chhattisgarh. So only 3 districts are most affected by the left-wing, by the Maoist insurgency. The left-wing extremism affected districts have now reduced from 18 to 11 across the country. So that's a very good news for the country. There was a time when it was more than 272 districts. Now it is reducing. Recent development and data. As per the South Asia Terrorism Portal, till October 29, 2025, that is recent data, 330 Maoists have been killed and 398 have been arrested. And 1,787 Maoists have surrendered this year. That's a very, very good news. Now people are changing their vision. The people are changing their attitude towards the government. Now they are surrendering and they want to be part of the society. Most surrenders: October 2, 103 cadres in Bijapur. October 15, Politburo member Melojula Venugopal Rao and 60 cadres in Gadchiroli, Maharashtra have surrendered. Gadchiroli once was the hub of the Maoism. October 17, 210 cadres in Bastar district have surrendered. Bastar again was one of the hub of the Maoism. The number of left-wing extremism affected districts have reduced to 11 as per the Ministry of Home Affairs. So this data will be important if a question is asked on this particular topic. Next is, what is the reason for the movement's decline? The reason is that the integrated and holistic counter-insurgency strategy by the central government, The police forces, the state police forces, and the CAPF or Central Armed Police Forces have demonstrated capability to defeat the organized insurgencies. So they have worked hard to ensure that the country is safe and secure. Ideological confusion is also there within the movement. Some of the members are now disenchanted with the armed struggle. They want to work for the development of the people. They want to work in a peaceful manner. So there is ideological confusion also. Secondly, the armed struggle has not given any fulfilling results. So that's why this confusion has risen. Many cadres now never fully understood the Marxism and Leninism in joining instead of this social cause. So the basic cause for joining this movement was a social cause. They were not inspired by the Marxism or the Leninism, or neither they were inspired by Mao of China. So the foreign influence was not very well understood by the local people. Now, the Maoist ideology imported from the foreign revolutionary models like China's chairman is our chairman ideology, it is not very well accepted by the people. The movement drew early strength by championing the cause of marginalized, especially tribal and the landless communities. Now the key question is how the underlying grievances have to be resolved. Because जो मेन कारण था माइस्ट या नक्सलिज्म का वो था सोशल कॉज. द पीपल वर लैंडलेस, they were being exploited, their livelihood were being affected, they were being ill treated. Now we need to focus upon developing the region. We need to focus upon catering to these particular core reasons due to which the Maoism has been in the country. Now one part we have done, that the safety and security of those regions have now been ensured, or it will be ensured in the coming time. March 31st, 2026 has been put as the deadline for removing the Naxalism from the country. Now, from the security point of view, we will be successful. But the next question is how we are going to resolve the underlying grievances of these people. The persistent structural inequalities are there. The root cause of this discontent was social inequality, economic deprivation, and political marginalization. We need to focus upon these three areas. They are still persisting. The moral critique of inequality and exploitation that once fueled the movement could re-emerge in new form even if the violent insurgency ends. So if we are not going to eradicate these basic root causes of the movement can again come up. So we need to focus upon reducing social inequality. We need to alleviate the economic deprivation, and we need to ensure political participation of the people. We need to eliminate the political marginalization of these regions. Then social economic inequalities have been there. India's rapid economic growth but it has been uneven. India is ranked lowest among the G20 nations as per the per capita GDP and in terms of PPP. The Gini coefficient for India is very high. The inequality index, which is given by this Gini coefficient, it has shown very little improvement. So again, inequality in the country is very high, and wherever there is inequality, it leads to exploitation. It leads to disenchantment with the governance. The tribal and forest affected areas continue to lag in the access of land, healthcare, education, and livelihood. So these are the four things we need to focus upon. Then human development in the left-wing extremism regions. For example, Malkangiri in Odisha, the HDI is only 0.37, and if you talk about India, it is 0.579. So it reflects poor life expectancy, healthcare, and nutrition. Next, Gadchiroli. National Family Health Survey 5 of 2022 shows that 33% children under 5 are shunted or wasted. That means 1/3 of the coming generation is not fully healthy. Over 60% of the women are anemic. So the basic thing, that is healthcare, is not very well in these areas. Despite new roads, banks, IITs, Eklavya schools, basic well-being indicators remains alarmingly poor. So government need to focus upon the development of this region, and we need to focus upon inclusive development, inclusive and sustainable development. Next thing is challenges in the tribal and resources regions, because majorly the tribal communities are residing in those regions which are rich in natural resources. So mineral rich central India have faced displacement and exploitation, and this has resulted in the disenchantment with the governance and the rise of Naxalism in these areas. So we need to ensure that how the mineral exploitation as well as displacement and exploitation will go hand in hand. How we are going to rehabilitate these tribals who are being rehabilitated. Implementation of the Forest Rights Act have remained slow and inconsistent, leaving the forest dwellers insecure. So we need to give them a sense of security that their livelihood, their rehabilitation will not be affected in negative manner. Way forward and cautionary note, it is the government is close to military defeating the Maoist insurgency. However, the ideological spark of Naxalbari may persist unless economic and social roots of inequality are being addressed. Bridging the gap between economic root and social justice is essential to prevent resurgence of this similar movement. The military success is commendable, but for the lasting peace, we need to focus upon development, that is inclusive development. We need to reduce inequality. We need to ensure they have access to good health care, they have access to schooling, education, they have access to good standards of living, and foremost, their rehabilitation, if has to be done, if they have to be displaced, then the rehabilitation should be better than the previous one. So in this regard, we need to see the current situation of the Maoist affected region. Now with this, you are in a position to attempt this mains answer and you can bring your answer to us. With this, we conclude for the day. Thank you very much.